I'm David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and silly one. Today's post, top new names for Trump's war, because Republicans are starting to get worried. In case you missed it, the War Powers Act requires that when a U.S. president declares war and sends the troop into battle, with or without the authorization of Congress, he, or it could have been she if voters hadn't been so stupid. What am I saying? If it had been a she, we wouldn't be in this mess right now. But anyways, he must get the legislature's approval 60 days after the start of the war to authorize its continuation. That deadline passed at the end of April, however, and Congress still hasn't weighed in. At first, the king of wishful thinking thought he could get around the deadline by declaring weekly ceasefires and saying the clock stopped each time the shooting stopped. When that didn't work because the shooting never really stopped, he simply decided that the answer was to declare that the war was over even though the shooting was still going on, and rebrand the fighting by giving it a different name. Although he hasn't come up with a new name yet, I have a few hopeful suggestions, including 1. Operation Epstein Fury 2, Electric Boogaloo. Number 2, Operation Forget Jeffrey. The whole point was to create another shiny object that would cause stories about Epstein to go away. Unfortunately, it didn't work because now people are pissed off about high gas prices and the Epstein scandal. So Genghis Khan decided to change the name to make it a little more obvious. Number 3, Operation Taco Tuesday. Apparently, Trump takes things too literally. He opposes giving immigrants asylum because he thinks they're coming from asylums. He doesn't want them to have visas either because he thinks they're getting free credit cards. And now he thinks the Mexican restaurant tradition of serving cheap tacos one day a week requires him to withdraw ultimatums against Iran the same day each week because taco stands for Trump always chickens out. Number 4, Operation Smash and Grab. Even if he doesn't win, Genghis Khan understands in chaos he can steal. So if he can divide our attention, we won't notice he's draining the treasury. And what better way to distract us from that than by telling us what he's doing, because his apologists will say he isn't actually doing it, and that those who say he is are suffering from TDS. Yes, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Number 5, Operation Slush Fund. So many Republicans are furious that the nightmare on Pennsylvania Avenue really, has created a slush fund of $1.8 billion taxpayer dollars, along with a shark with a frickin' laser beam to pay off insurrectionists, supporters, and other random criminals that they've temporarily forgotten about the war and Epstein. It's not because they're angry about the brazen theft, though. They're pissed off that they won't be getting any of the cash. Number 6, Operation Art of the Deal. He's always liked that book. You know, the one with his name on it, even though he didn't write it. Why not use hostilities as a way to remind people and increase book sales? Careful, Donnie. You might inspire book burning parties. That's what I'm saying. Number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know. 6, Operation Change the Subject. Democrats in Congress just held a hearing in West Palm Beach, Florida, to hear testimony of Epstein survivors. So how's that going for you, Donnie? That's it. Show's over, but it's time to go home because there's nothing left to see. For now. I've been David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and silly one.